to start. Because this makes a lot of noise. And I want to avoid making noise. And whenever you're ready.
Growing up in the 80s, in the Midwest, I didn't know any women. I knew mothers and teachers and church ladies, but no women. Women who knew themselves and knew what they wanted and how to get it. Women who dressed to be noticed, or women who dressed just for themselves. Why, they were only in movies and magazines I wasn't allowed to watch. Mothers and church ladies, they dressed their bodies like an apology. They dressed in so much polyester and nylon that I'm sure they would be perspiring under all those layers until they're red in the face and had to fan themselves. It wasn't because of their delicate nature they were so intolerant of humidity. It's because they were hot. And I'm sure that they would never let their true form of their bodies to ever be hinted at, or even let their skin breathe or their calves see the light of day without a second's shear of skin to hide them from scrutiny. By the time I was a preteen, I was too tall to be and too big to be a girl. I thought that girls were small and lithe creatures that danced around in fields and picked flowers to the joy of their mothers and the pride of their fathers. I was angry and I was insolent and I was pretty much a bother to anyone to be around. I was neither girl nor woman. I was just this amorphous blob that would dress in pastel pink that my mother bought, so people wouldn't think that I was some sullen boy if I was allowed to wear the jeans and black t-shirts I really wanted to wear. It didn't help that my mother was super religious either. At home and in church, I got the message that to be a woman was to be cursed. Eve was made from Adam's rib, so she would forever be grateful to him and would forever serve him. I'm pretty sure that wasn't really for me. Any other woman in the Bible who wasn't accomplished to a crime or a murder like Jezebel or Delilah were doting mothers and grandmothers that just prayed and prayed for a baby. In fact, that's where my mother told me that babies came from. Prayer. Any sex education that I did receive was from public school health class that was always preached against in church, or pamphlets at the library, or magazines like Cosmopolitan, or Sassy, which is really an 90s alternative girl's answer to Cosmo. Although I tried to be devout, I don't know if I fully embraced it. My piety was more or less just to avoid being hassled and lectured by my mother, avoid the judgment in my church peer group, and honestly, because no one was offering. Does it really matter of your resolve or will if no one was offering you to sin with them? I was pretty much invisible. I remember praying to die in my sleep or for the rapture to happen and go to heaven just to avoid the sheer boredom of Christian teen purity. In one of the magazines I perused at the library when I was supposed to be researching like migrant birds or something, I took a quiz in Cosmo about what my signature lip color should be and what does that say about me. I took the quiz in pencil because it was the library, right? And to my surprise, my signature color was passion pink. For the cheerful optimist with just a bit of sass. Well, I was surprised, of course. I really thought that I was the more vixen, dangerous, plum crazy type. But how can you argue with the ironclad wisdom of a magazine multiple choice quiz? I let the fates decide. Of course, I was 13. I wasn't allowed to wear makeup. My mother did, though, sometimes. And it was less for beauty as much as a defense against imagined imperfect skin and expectation of rosy cheeks. I would sometimes watch her from the passenger side of the car as she applied makeup in the rearview mirror, applying paint, lip brush, and lip gloss. Watching my mother put on makeup made her from a beauty to absolutely stunning. And it seemed like less of a beauty ritual, more like a magic spell. She would never believe the reflection in the mirror who told her who was the fairest of them all. My middle-aged mother seemed much more younger appearing than her peers and far more exotic and beautiful. Although she did believe she was much heavier than what she thought was appropriate. It made me ache that she didn't see it. And it made me angry that she didn't see any of her features in me, her daughter. Only the poor genetics of her husband for whom she no longer loved. I knew I did not want to embody the self-hate that passes virtue of the church ladies and mothers around me. I would look around and I saw all kinds of people. I saw pretty people and ugly people and weird-looking people, and they were all coupled up. Some of them seemed perfectly happy in their imperfections. Surely beauty did not equal love all the time, right? I knew there would be no ushering into womanhood by the elders of my tribe either. Every symptom of puberty I tried to hide up and cover and hide from my mother and the world around me with increasingly bulkier and uglier clothes. I knew I would have to face the horrors of my changing body alone, with only a health textbook and back issues of fashion magazines to guide me. I knew anything like eyeliner or blush would surely give me away, but there was that promise in that tube of lipstick, the cheerful optimist with a bit of sass. I became obsessed. I imagined all the flirty kisses and the lipstick smudges on glasses, and to seal love letters I would never send to boys who didn't deserve them. I knew I couldn't just go down to the drugstore and buy my allowance. Even the shame of waiting in line where only the cashier would see my amorphous, blobby, frowny face buying lipstick was just too shameful and embarrassing. I knew if I was going to commit the sin of vanity and of wearing lipstick, and before I was old enough or allowed, I'd have to steal it. I might as well double down on sin. If I was going to go to hell, I was going to earn it. I wasn't going to get there on a technicality. I had planned it for weeks. I knew where the lipstick was located in CVS. CoverGirl, not Maybelline. Maybelline was for old ladies. I got just the right sweatshirt with pockets, and I didn't worry about being noticed. No one was looking at me. So I swiped it. My fingers were so quick, it was like I was swatting a fly. And I walked out that door just as bold as I could be. On the walk back through the field next to the subdivision of my house, that tube of lipstick burned in my pocket like a lump of lava. I swear it almost pulsated with the promised sensuality and wrongness, like the still beating heart of my enemy. That night, I waited until everyone was asleep. I got up, still in my pajamas, and I put a towel underneath the door jamb so the light wouldn't escape. I turned on just in my reading lamp. I was very careful not to wake anyone. I put on lipstick in the mirror of the antique hand-me-down vanity, applied the lipstick, I dabbed, and I smiled. I hardly ever smile.